Welcome back to my cozy corner of the internet. I'm Mayastar, and this is the Mayastar Podcast. I teach energy healing courses online through Mayastar Academy, share spiritual guidance and mystical musings on the Maya Muses blog, and provide healing, ritual, and spellcasting services. As a starseeded shaman and professional witch, today is episode 101 of the Mayastar Podcast, and we'll be covering fairies and nature spirits, what they are, how we can connect with them, and how working with them through energy healing techniques can support us in our spiritual awakening journey. Make sure you subscribe to be notified of my latest guidance, and check out the links in the description below to learn more about what I do and how you can work with me. As usual, I have a tendency to go off script and let my intuition guide me. So we'll be meandering around these topics and pursuing the scenic route to enlightenment. If this sounds interesting to you, stick around and while away some time with me as we explore these things together. So sit back, relax your shoulders, take a sip of chamomile tea, exhale deeply, and let's explore fairies and nature spirits. The word fairy conjures up ideas of cute and pretty fairy tale creatures that hold magical powers, grant wishes, and are tied to the natural world. Fairies are recorded in folklore throughout Europe and are also called the fae, the she, fairy, and fair folk. Modern media has depicted them as light-hearted and kindly people, usually girls and women with wings, that support humans, plants, and animals. We think of them when we throw coins into wishing wells or leave offerings for the tooth fairy. As such, we tend to think of them as imaginary characters from stories for children, rather than considering their ancient and magical roots. The modern idea of fairies as beneficent spirits isn't completely accurate. It creates an idea of fairies as delicate, fragile creatures with good intentions towards people and nothing better to do than serve humans. But in fact, fairies are elemental beings that have their own spiritual paths and their own unique motivations. Sometimes the paths of fairies align with ours, and we can work with them to facilitate our spiritual growth and pursue our goals. But if they are approached through magic, meditation, or energy work with the intention to use them for personal gain, they are quite capable of fighting back against that kind of manipulation, just as you might if a person did that to you. So when you're approaching fairies or any other kind of elemental being, it's a good idea to start out by recognizing that they are as real, individual, and authentic as you are. You wouldn't walk up to a stranger in the street and demand that they help you to manifest greater prosperity in your life. If you did, you might expect some kind of reaction or consequence. If you picked the wrong stranger, you might very well end up injured. And fairies should be approached in the same way. Now we're going to look at fairy curses. and how to approach fairies in such a way that you can avoid conflict. Fairies have been credited historically with the ability to sour your milk, cause bad luck, make you or your animals sick, and in extreme cases, steal your soul. Such malignancy seems very much at odds with the way we portray fairies today, but I believe that when you're working with any kind of spiritual being, it's important to understand that you can develop a relationship with them. However, to do that, you need to respect them and approach them with caution, kindness, and consideration. Friendships between humans and humans, or humans and fairies, are built on mutual respect and develop over time, so be patient and maintain good intentions when connecting with them. If you feel connected to the natural world or spend a lot of time in nature, you may have felt the presence of the little people. When you're alone in the wilderness, you may experience them as a sense that you are not alone, even if you don't see them. They are curious but also protective of their homes and of the natural world. So sometimes people report experiencing the presence of the Fae with a sense that they weren't welcome or that they were being watched. Because of this territorial and protective tendency, humans developed the habit of leaving gifts for fairies to demonstrate their respect and assure them of their good intentions. In the coven I was originally trained in back in the 90s, we always saved some of the food blessed during the ritual for the fairies and elemental beings that had shared the sacred space with us. Often we'd excitedly run and dance around the garden after the ritual, calling out our thanks and celebrating with them. They were considered friends and allies in our magical work, but they were always acknowledged, respected, and included, never taken for granted. So how can we connect with fairies in energy healing and spiritual development practices? Those pursuing a healing path often develop their psychic senses over time and are able to experience deeper connection and awareness of elemental beings and fairies. This allows friendships with the fairies to build in a mutually supportive way. For example, the fairies may assist with healing or magical work, and in return, you might offer them healing energy or tend to the plants and trees that they're connected with. You might make offerings of food, crystals, or incense to them, or simply converse with them while meditating in nature. If you feel drawn to strengthen your connection to the fairies, I recommend doing this by inviting them to connect with you rather than commanding or invoking them. Approach them as you would a person. Good energy healing systems that can help you to connect with the fairies and other nature spirits include Nature Deva and Fairies, Fairy Lightworker Program, the Magical Lightworker Program, Ellen of the Ways, the Avalonian Alignment Program, Star of Avalon Ascension, and Avalonian Spectral Activations. All of these courses are detailed on the Mayastar website at mayastar.net. It's also worth remembering that because fairies are tied to the natural world, the way you look after the natural world has a bearing on how the fairies will relate to you. If you have a garden and spend time there meditating and connecting with the power of the earth and the sacred trees, you may find that the fairies approach you during your meditation practice, but don't expect them to appear as little people with wings. You may perceive them as colours, light that shimmers around plants, or even shadow people that seem to move between the trees, and often our communication with them takes place on a psychic level, where you'll receive impressions of their intentions, and you may pick up on their feelings. You can converse with them in this way, but be patient because it's a skill that you will have to develop over time. If you sit in nature for 20 minutes to half an hour each day and allow that time to become a communion with the natural world and with the spirits that support that natural ecosystem and the sacred soul of each plant and element around you, you'll be well on your way to connecting with those nature spirits. And if you choose to connect with an energy healing practice during those morning meditations, you can further enhance that experience, sharing energy with those elemental beings and fairies that you connect with in a mutual healing communion. I hope this article has inspired you to explore the fairy realms and experience these beautiful, magical, and mysterious beings for yourself. And I hope that I've given you some ideas of how you might best approach connecting with the fairies so that you can develop a healthy and harmonious connection with them. If this episode resonated with you and you feel called to explore these energies more deeply, you'll find a wide range of distance attunement courses, including those mentioned in this episode, on my website at mayastar.net. I offer full support for your healing and spiritual awakening journey with energy attunement sent using the Orb of Life method, which means you can receive them wherever you are in the world. You can also explore the latest spiritual guidance, articles, and daily energy updates exclusively on the Maya Muses blog at blog.mayastar.net. And if you'd like to support my work or join the Mayastar Soul Tribe community, you'll find a link for the Mayastar Patreon page in the description box below, where you can access exclusive members-only content, including pre-release channeled music and healing heart meditations. The Mayastar Soul Tribe members hold a special place in my heart, so a big thank you and my brightest blessings to you. And thank you to all who like, share, subscribe or comment on these episodes. Your engagement helps this podcast get recommended to people who will find inspiration in my words. Wishing you peace, prosperity, and progress in all you do. With blessings.